Season and climate. Season and climate are the two most commonly used words to denote weather conditions of a place or a region. Season is a particular weather pattern that happens in one of the four periods of a year: spring, summer, autumn and winter. While climate is the average condition that is expected at a certain place over a number of years. For example, if a place is constantly warm and dry, the climate of that area is said to be warm and dry. Though the changes in the climate can be seen, these changes are slow and gradual and take place over a long period of time. For example, due to global warming, the melting of glaciers is causing snowfall at places where it has never snowed before. Season and climate are totally different from each other. The main difference between the two is that season changes with 4 different periods in a year, while climate does not change for longer periods. Elements of season and climate. There are several elements that make up the weather and climate of a place. All these elements help to keep the life on the earth strong and thriving. The climate of a location is affected by latitude, terrain and altitude, as well as nearby water bodies and their currents. The elements that play a special role in determining the climate of a place are discussed below. Temperature. The temperature lets us know how hot or cool the air is on a day-to-day basis. The temperature of a place can change throughout the day, though it still falls within the predictable range of highs and lows. The rays of the sun, the cold and heat waves decide the temperature of a particular day. The temperature of the day is higher than the night due to the presence of sunlight. The temperature is highest at the equator as the rays of the sun falls directly on it. But the temperature at the poles is the lowest because the rays of the sun that falls on the poles are slanting and therefore less intense. That is why there is snow in the poles. The unit of measurement of temperature is centigrade or Fahrenheit. The instrument used to measure temperature is called thermometer. Air pressure. Air pressure or atmospheric pressure is basically the weight of the air. The weight of the air is different in the different layers of the earth. At the surface of the earth, it is approximately 1 kg weight in 1 square centimeter area. As the height or elevation increases, there is less air mass, so the air pressure decreases with increasing altitudes. The unit of measuring air pressure is millibar, and the instrument used for this is barometer. The air pressure is generally used by the meteorologists to keep track of developing storms in the regions that are prone to it, though the air pressure is typically considered an aspect of weather. Certain regions of the world exist in zones where changing atmospheric pressure form a part of the predictable climate. Because of their proximity to large bodies of water, a major factor of change in the atmospheric pressure, places like coastal regions and islands experience severe storms on a regular basis. Wind. Wind is the movement of air parallel to the Earth's surface. The movement of air from a high pressure area to a low pressure area is called wind. The influence of wind is clearly seen when it takes away leaves from roads and uproots trees during storms. Hot wind or cold wind affects the climate of a place. It also plays a major role in the occurrence of monsoon. Wind is of 3 types. They are briefly discussed below. Permanent wind. Permanent wind is the wind that blows in one direction throughout the year. They are of 3 types: trade winds, westerly winds and polar winds. Seasonal wind. This kind of wind changes their direction in different seasons. The monsoon wind in India is an example of seasonal winds. Land breeze blows at night and sea breeze during the day. These take place in the coastal regions and are also the best examples of seasonal winds. Local wind. The local wind blows at some places in a year or at a particular time of the day. In Rajasthan, the hot wind in summer, called Loo, is an example of local wind. Chinook, that is Rocky Mountains, Fohan and Mistral, Europe, etc. are some examples of the local wind of the world. No more. The instrument used for knowing the direction of the wind is called a wind vane, and the instrument that measures the speed of the wind is anemometer. The wind derives its name from the direction it comes from. For example, the wind that comes from the east and west are known as the eastern and western winds respectively. The wind from the mountain is the mountain breeze, and that from the valley is known as the valley breeze. No more. Flying jet planes leave a white trail behind them. The water vapor emitted from the engines gets condensed. In a state of the wind being steady, this condensed vapor remains in the form of trail for some time. Humidity. Humidity is the measurable amount of moisture in the air. It is formed when the water vapor mixes with air that is present in the atmosphere. So, humidity is the amount of water vapor present in the air. Humidity indicates the likelihood of the precipitation, dew or fog. In the rainy season, the humidity in the air is very high, and therefore it takes longer time to dry the clothes even in the presence of sunlight. Humidity also helps in the formation of clouds, and it causes rainfall too. Humidity also makes the day hotter and can be used to predict storms. This particular element of the climate can also affect the ecosystem of an area. There are two types of humidity: absolute humidity, relative humidity. The humidity element of climate is the prolonged moisture level of an area that can affect the entire ecosystem. For instance, tropical jungles can sustain different forms of life than dry, arid climates because of the overall humidity from rainfall and other factors. Rain. The falling of water droplets on the earth is called rain. A good rainfall is a boon for the earth, as plants, animals and humans depend on the rain for their survival. Rain is an important source of water for the river. Underground water is also obtained from rainwater. Timely and sufficient rainfall ensures good crops. We also get fresh water from rainfall. Less or negligent rainfall leads to drought and famine, while an excess of it causes floods. There are three types of rainfall: mountain rain, cyclonic rain and conventional rain. The instrument which is used to measure rainfall is called rain gauge.